The sky is on fire. Drone operators are successfully taking out the enemy army and not allowing it to move forward even a step. The hottest section of the front is gradually being cleared of Russians, yet the tension does not subside. A new assault, and with it, a lot of work for the armed forces of Ukraine. A powerful slap to the occupiers. We will tell you about the operational situation on the line of contact right now.
In the Kupiansk direction, border guard units are successfully targeting enemy shelters. Drones destroyed tanks, armored fighting vehicles, several self-propelled artillery units, and a UAV control point. Precise strikes by kamikaze drones deprive the enemy of protection and seriously weaken their combat capabilities. The fighters also blew up several enemy positions, including bunkers, basements, and destroyed buildings where assault groups of the occupiers were hiding. A hot tour to hell was organized for the Russians by the warriors of the 14th Mechanized Brigade, named after Prince Roman the Great, in the Kharkiv region. The assault troops on ATVs planned to break through the defense of our units, but only got into trouble. Most did not return back.
In the Lyman direction, the occupying army attacked near the settlements of Kopanki, Novoserhiyivka, Olhivka, Linov, Zelena Dolina, Yanpolivka, Ridkudab, and Nove. Ukrainian defenders repelled all enemy attacks and also prevented the deterioration of the tactical position in the Serebryansky forestry.
From the Lyman sky, the anti-aircraft gunners of the 63rd Brigade took down the most expensive Russian reconnaissance drone, Merlin. A wing worth about $300,000 was shot down by a drone. Another Supercam was successfully eliminated. The occupiers can't escape from the FPV shocks of the Phoenix. In the Donetsk region, border guards stop even the most agile, whether on a motorcycle or a quad bike. In the Kramatorsk direction, the Moscow forces attacked in the areas of Chasiv Yar, Kurdyumivka, Stupochki, Peredtechine, and Bilahora. In this section of the front, the Black Raven pilots of the Kolodny Yar Brigade are destroying enemy personnel and equipment. Specifically, this time they burned tanks, a cannon, a ground robot, and radio equipment. And the fighters of the 5th Assault Unit gave the invaders a warm welcome and attacked the Hyacinth S self-propelled artillery with strike drones. At the same time, the enemy's fortifications and shelters with infantry were blown up. In the Toretsk sector, there were almost 30 attacks in a day in the areas of Druzhba, Leonidivka, Krivska, and Toretsk. The fight against the enemy continues here and in the air. The drone operators of Azov showed how they eliminate the enemy's reconnaissance wings and their strike Lancets, Zalas, and Supercams. The artillerymen of the 28th Brigade, named after the Knights of the Winter Campaign, shared their video perspective on service. Behind the dry numbers of hits lies the true passion of the fighters for their work. The list of targets was expanded to include the Grad combat vehicle, the Raptor gun, TD transport, and infantry groups. The enemy does not stop advancing on Pokrovsk. The ruined and deserted city is defended, among others, by the 155th Mechanized Brigade, named after Anna of Kyiv.
When we arrived, well, in January, you could say, I was already directly commanding the brigade. Pokrovsk was still more or less intact. There were more people. Now, unfortunately, the enemy is constantly striking with aerial bombs, maybe and artillery. So, well, unfortunately, they are destroying the city as a city.
In the Pokrovsk direction, UAV operators of the 46th Airmobile Brigade eliminated enemy drone crews using anti-tank mine drops. The culmination of the precise strikes was a successful attack on the self-propelled artillery Nona, which they unsuccessfully tried to hide in the grove. The enemy is trying to advance both on foot in small groups and with light vehicles. Thus, the drone operators of Spartan have more targets. In addition to personnel, they are also hunting motorcycles used by the occupiers. In the Pokrovsk direction, our defenders stopped 68 assault actions by the aggressor near the settlements of Sukha-Balka, Yelizavetivka, Novotoretske, Promin, Lisivka, Dachenske, Udakne, Uspenivka, Preobrajenka, Kotliarivka, and Andriivka. In the Novopavlivka direction, the enemy carried out 13 attacks over the past day. For the breakthrough to the settlement of Bahatir, the Russian command sent an assault column of 18 motorcycles and 10 vehicles. However, our fighters noticed the enemy's approaching time and thwarted their intentions. Almost all the equipment was left to burn out where it managed to reach. In the Novopavlivka direction, the Russians attacked towards Privilne, Dniproenergia, and Rozliv. The fighters of the 110th Mechanized Brigade, named after General Kornei Marko Bezruchko, stopped the armored vehicles even before the assault began. With faith in our fighters, Tetiana Litvin, Inter, Details, Marathon United News.
The destructive revenge of the armed forces of Ukraine. The Russians will remember this audacious assault for a long time. In one sortie, 1,500 occupiers were eliminated. Their equipment is now just a memory. The artillery salvos were precise and relentless. Putin's generals watched the collapse of their army from bunkers. Will they decide to start retreating after this? All about this in just a moment.
Columns of enemy equipment were detected by drones of the Artan Special Unit of the Main Intelligence Directorate. The fighters monitored the enemy's movements for some time and prepared for the encounter.
We expected them to launch an offensive against us. They chose the time. They were about to enter during the day. There were approximately 140 units of equipment and about 300 personnel of the enemy.
The drone operators and artillerymen of Artan got to work. The first 3 BMPs were destroyed a few kilometers before reaching the line of contact.
Some managed to break through a little closer, but still, it did not yield any results for the occupiers. They were also destroyed on the approach to our positions by artillery and other means, including strike FPVs.
Some of the enemy's equipment did not get past the minefields.
They were deploying personnel. Well, their tactic is like this. They transport them in heavier armored vehicles, deploy them, and try to return. But even the equipment that deployed the personnel was also destroyed on the retreat.
When they realized they had been detected and started being destroyed, of course, they began to focus on deploying, and we were already catching them in all the groves, in the fields, and completely, destroying them. Practically all the equipment was destroyed, and approximately up to 150 personnel.
The fighters of the special unit Artan say they are increasingly relying on the use of drones. They increase the effectiveness of combat missions and help save the lives of soldiers. The enemy is furious and resorts to further crimes, even using prohibited weapons.
The enemy is now very active in the Zaporizhzhia direction where we are located, and is using chemical weapons very actively, as well as personnel. There are burns, there are poisonings among the personnel. So we already know how to counteract all of this. But unfortunately, such cases do occur.
However, our defenders say every wound on the body of a Ukrainian soldier is yet another reason for revenge. And they direct all their fury at the enemy.
Every enemy assault provides even more adrenaline and motivation to fight the occupier. The guys analyze their work on identify mistakes and improve their performance in the future.
Nina Kolomiets, Details, Inter TV channel, United News Marathon.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Near Toretsk, Putin's army is falling apart. The powerful Bogdana cannon entered the battle and ultimately helped shift the fire advantage to the side of the armed forces of Ukraine. Artillery and drones are cutting off all enemy routes. It's just the beginning, say our defenders. Russian mercenaries are barely holding on, yet they do not retreat. When might the mercenaries plan to capture Toretsk take its last breath? Find out more in our report.
The Bogdana cannon is compelling evidence that the mass production of complex combat systems in Ukraine is possible. I got assigned to this wonderful cannon. I've already gotten used to it. We simply know everything about it. At the time of the invasion, there was only one prototype of the domestic 155mm installation. And over the past year, Ukraine has produced 154 cannons for the military, and now it manufactures more than 20 Bogdana cannons per month. As of now, this is the highest rate of artillery production in Europe. Weapons need to be produced, and ammunition needs to be produced. Experience with partners shows that they might be here today, but gone tomorrow. And there won't be anything to shoot with. Although in Bogdana, not everything is as automated as in Western counterparts. Here near Toretsk, the gun has proven to be a very accurate and long-range weapon. Fire when ready. Fire. A difficult direction. About 20, 30, 40 shells per day are used. The gunners are just gaining momentum. It's summer right now. They are just getting started. The defense of Toretsk is the longest battle of the entire war with Russia. Over 10 months. Longer than Bakhmut. The 100th Brigade and other units currently hold about a fifth of the city. There is no front line here. Ukrainian positions can be deep in the enemy's rear and vice versa. In Toretsk itself, the enemy has lost more than 15,000 soldiers. Thousands of bodies lie among the ruins of the city because no one retrieves them.
There are always many of them. There are very many, and it feels like they never end and will never end. But to say that they have any significant success here, they do not. There is partial success, but I will say this. If we lose a position by a certain time of day, that position is destroyed along with whatever entered it.
The Russians do not spare their own. If they notice that the Ukrainian armed forces are taking prisoners, they try to eliminate them. Ukrainian artillery and drones cut off all roads for the occupiers. But the Russians do the same. The most attacks occur when entering and exiting Toretsk. The Toretsk direction remains one of the most intense. Without Toretsk, the occupiers cannot encircle Kostiantynivka, the main logistics center of the Ukrainian defense.
So there's a lot of work here for Ukrainian artillerymen.
The commander of the American Paladin unit of the 100th Brigade is convinced that even in the era of drones, so artillery has not lost its relevance, especially in Toretsk. Does artillery remain relevant?
Yes. It remains relevant because it covers the infantry.
Artillery is artillery. Without it too, no. You can't quickly cover and suppress an assault. That is, when they strike, it's precise, but we can deliver a strike, massive one, completely covering a certain area.